Welcome back. All right, time to talk about the Calgary Flames. Time to round out this playlist. So, next up, I'll be taking a look at teams that got eliminated from the playoffs. So, new playlist there, but looking at a team that missed the playoffs. The final one to look at is Calgary. The Calgary Flames had a pretty darn good season, unexpectedly. They were considered to be a rebuilding team, especially considering how many veterans had left this team over the last couple of years, but they surprised people. Now, they haven't made the playoffs since 2022. In that playoff year, they got to the second round. They lost against Edmonton in a Battle of Alberta that I really wish had gone on longer. But Edmonton was the better team, and Calgary has fallen off since 2022 2023. They go 38 27 and 17, 93 points. And the following season, a lot more losses in regulation. They still won 38 games, but they lost 39 in regulation and only 5 in extra time. So that's a drop of 12 points that they earned from losing in overtime and shootouts, and therefore they drop to 81 points. This year, they rise by 15 points, a record of 41, 27, and 14 for 96 points. And I mean, it really depends on how you see the Flames. Are the Flames building themselves up to become a contender? Are the Flames building themselves up to just be a playoff team and linger around that playoff picture? Or are we still going to see this team go through some sort of rebuild? Are they in it now? So let me know your thoughts. Now, they had more points than both New Jersey and Montreal. They were tied in points with the Blues, so they lose that tiebreaker to make the playoffs. Very, very close. Now, what we learned last season was Detroit got very close too, didn't quite make it, and then fell off. That could happen with Calgary as well. That being said, the work ethic was always there, and that work ethic kept them in it, even though they couldn't score. Their top scorer was Nazem Kadri, who had a very good year, but considering their top scorer had 67 points, that is a lot less than most teams have for their leading scorer. 35 goals, 32 assists in 82 games for Kadri to get to 67 points. Huberdeau had probably his best season in Calgary, 81 games, 28 goals, 34 assists, 62 points. And we'll talk about his contract. Is he ever going to live up to that contract? No. But at least this year it felt like he played a little better. There was more goals there too. And so, it's not a total loss with Huberdeau in that contract. And they're not in any kind of cap situation either where that contract's really hurting him. Coronado, 77 games, 24 goals, 23 assists, 47 points. Of course, he just signed an extension. Weegar, 81 games, 8 goals, 39 assists, 47 points. This looks quite good on their blue line. Blake Coleman, 82 games, 15 goals, 24 assists, 39 points. I think 40 to 50 points every year from Coleman. Great. Plays a good two-way game, does a lot of things out there for them. Sharon Govich, 73 games, 17 goals, 15 assists, 32 points. I think Sharon Govich can get into that 25 to 30 goal range next season. And Michael Backlund, 76 games, 15 goals, 17 assists, 32 points. So when we look at their top scorers compared to some of the other teams that I've gone over, definitely issues when it comes to the goal scoring. Connor Zary, a full season from him, a full healthy season from him would help. 54 games, 13 goals, 14 assists, 27 points. I think Zary can get into that 60, 65 point range as soon as next season. And so we'll see what happens there. Now, both players who came over from Philadelphia had their struggles. Frost, 32 games, 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points. And so we'll see how long both of these players are members of the Flames. Farabee has had his struggles for a while now. 31 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points with Calgary, so it just didn't quite work. The good news for the Flames, too, at the end of the season being Parekh comes up, plays the one game, has a goal in that game, so on pace for 82 goals. That's pretty good for a defenseman. I don't know if he would have kept up that goal per game pace, but who am I to doubt? Dustin Wolf, pretty good regular season for him. 29, 16, and 6 record for the rookie with a 910 save percentage. He is a finalist for the Calder. Vladar, 12, 11, and 6 record, 898 save percentage. At times this season, Vladar looked absolutely fantastic. So while he's a pending free agent, we'll see if Calgary circles back and keeps him or what the plan is going forward in net. The scoring definitely hurt them. They scored 2.68 goals per game. That's 29th in the National Hockey League. You're not going to win very many games that way. Their goals against was 15th in the NHL at 2.88. So the defense and the goaltending kept them in these games. Their power play was 19th at 21%, considering their overall offense was 29th. That's not bad. Their penalty kill was 25th at 76.1%. So kind of weird that defensively they were better than they were offensively, but on special teams, the one that scores goals is better than the one that is trying to prevent goals. It's one of those oddities from this season. But the Flames numbers overall not bad, and so as long as they can find ways to score more goals next year, you're in good shape, and they have some cap space. They could maybe go out and find somebody who could finish off some plays that they couldn't finish off this year. One thing that really impressed me with Calgary, and one of the reasons that it was very tough not to cheer for Calgary this year, work ethic. The work ethic was fantastic. 22.89 hits per 60 minutes was 11th in the NHL. They were 11th in block shots as well, 15.78 blocks per 60 minutes. The hard work's there. The takeaways show that too. They had 5.22 takeaways per 60 minutes. That was 5th in the National Hockey League. So good defense, forcing turnovers, and just hard work. The hard work. That's what, if anything, the Calgary Flames record this year showed, that hard work cannot be overestimated in terms of its importance to a team's record. So their cap space on July 1st will be $27.79 million according to Puckpedia, and they don't really have any big money contracts to worry about this summer necessarily, other than Connor Zary. That may be a big money contract, but still, it's not going to eat up most of that $27.79 million. So they have 2 firsts this year, not their own. They have New Jersey and Florida's. Next year they have their own, and they have Vegas's first round draft pick as well. So there are a couple of extra draft picks there. This is a sign of a team that's retooling/rebuilding, but they're doing it while they stay competitive. And so that's a fascinating development for Calgary that I don't think we saw coming last summer. Last summer, the expectations were that Calgary would be down towards the bottom of the league, and they weren't. And so maybe they can stay where they're at. Sorry for the pausing. Cats who want to get in and out of the room. Anyways, all professional here. So looking at their pending unrestricted free agents and restricted free agents, Anthony Mantha, who did not play enough games for this team this year, that could have helped the offense right there. If Mantha had played a full season, you have to think at least 20 goals for him. Rooney, good fourth liner. Kirkland, another player who was having a pretty good run, and then he got hurt. And what's interesting, too, is Mantha gets hurt, and we go, well, that's it. Their offense is going to fall apart. Nope. Kirkland's out. Well, that's too bad. That just shows these guys are jinxed. They're not meant to get there. And they kept going. Hanley on the blue line, Vladar in net, and Tyson Barrie. Barrie, it didn't quite work. I knew what they were going for. And so for Tyson Barrie, we'll see whether or not he comes back to play next year. We know he's near the end of his career, so we'll see. Restricted free agents, Morgan Frost coming over from Philadelphia. As I said, not necessarily scoring a lot, but it does mean that it's easier to re-sign him. Probably a 1-year, maybe a 2-year contract. Zary, it's probably going to be on the longer-term side that they want to get Zary signed. Maybe they give him a contract that's very similar to Coronato's. So we'll see what the numbers end up looking like there. Klapka, if you're going to play well as you're going into contract negotiations. Klapka had a strong finish to the 2024-2025 season. And Kevin Ball on the blue line. Ball's probably going to get some decent money, probably a 3-4 year contract, I would think, for him. Now, looking at some contracts on the team, I mentioned the Huberdeau contract. It is $10.5 million in terms of cap hit till 2031. Salary cap's going up. There isn't another contract on this team that is egregious at all on any level, so the Huberdeau contract isn't hurting them. And I don't mean like the Huberdeau contract's awful necessarily. I think it's aging better as long as Huberdeau's playing the way he did this year. But Kadri at $7 million until 2029 is very reasonable considering his 35 goals. Farabee, $5 million until 2028. Not a fantastic contract. Part of the reason he was available from Philadelphia would be that contract. But yeah, Farabee, we'll see what his future is with the Calgary Flames. Weegar, $6.25 million until 2031. I think that's a huge bargain right there. Rasmus Anderson, $4.55 million for 1 more year. In the event that Calgary does drop back this year at all, we'll start to hear about Anderson and what the plans are going to be, although we may see Anderson re-sign during the summer. When there were rumors about him being moved, it was quite clear he'd rather stay in Calgary and he'd rather re-sign and stick around. Wolf's a restricted free agent next summer. So if Wolf has another year like he did this year, the pressure is going to be on to give him a pretty big money contract. But at this point, that's just looking out to next season. keeping in mind the best time to sign those contracts is usually before that season gets started. So for the Flames, it might be in their best interest financially to get Wolf signed this summer to a contract that's not Swayman-like, but a contract that will pay Wolf pretty well and probably a 5 or 6 year deal, I would think. Maybe they go the full 8. Who knows? He's a young player, considered to be their goaltender right now and for the future. Maybe they do go with 8 years once those negotiations get rolling. Craig Conroy's done a good job as general manager. I find no fault with any of the work that he's done. He got rid of the guys who didn't want to be in Calgary, and he kept the guys who did. And it seems to have benefited the team this past season quite well. And Adam Huska, I think, did a good job as their head coach. So Ryan Huska. Ryan Huska. Got Adam Foot on the brain is what that is, isn't it? It's Ryan, because I heard it out loud and I'm like, yeah, that's incorrect. But I'm not restarting the whole video. I've done that before. Where I get to the end and I go, nope, that's egregious. So that might be more egregious than anything else on the board. But anyways, yeah, I think Ryan Huska, no relation to whoever, Adam Huska. If your name's Adam Huska, hey, your name was on the board. Ryan Huska, I think, did a good job as head coach. Got more points out of the Calgary Flames than anybody would have expected. And so, yeah, pretty strong season for Calgary. Will they make the playoffs next year? I think it would be fascinating if they did. I want to see more battles of Alberta. I really do. I think those are always fun. And so maybe we get one of those next season. Maybe Calgary drops back. I think of the teams I've talked about, this might end up being the one that's hardest to predict for next season. A lot of the expectations are going to be dependent on what this team does between now and training camp, and whether they add or whether they keep things the same, and what happens with some of the contracts that are due. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. So I'm done looking at teams that missed the playoffs. Now we'll get into teams that lost in the first round. The next time I'm talking to you about a team and a team-centric video. Thank you guys for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.